So you bought a Baofeng radio and you have no idea what to use it for or how to use it. Well, this video is going to explain pretty much everything, or at least these videos should explain everything that you need to know. So the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and open up the box. I'm going to explain everything that's in it, explain all parts of the radio, try to give you an idea of exactly what it is that you're dealing with. You get the box for Baofeng radio. Goodness, jumped out of my hand. For brand new spanking Baofeng radio. It's coming with a radio antenna, also called rubber duck, and we're going to call that rubber duck from now on. Programming cable. This is a must-have. This is definitely a must-have. Get a genuine Baofeng programming cable. Charging base and AC plug for it. The speaker mic. Things that it comes with that you don't need. Baofeng's CD for their software. This stuff sucks. We're not going to use that. We are going to be using Chirp. I'm going to teach you how to use and program things on Chirp, and also, or excuse me, directly on the radio and also on Chirp. All right, so you bought the radio. You bought yourself a Baofeng because some forum, Arfcom, or social media has told you that you need one. But you're like, what the hell do I even use this thing for? What do you use it for? Baofeng walkie-talkies, also known as handy talkies. So ham radio operators call these things handy talkies. So that's what I'm going to call them, a handy talkie or HT going forward. All right, so Baofeng HTs can be used to monitor or participate in radio communications through several different methods that include both short range, which is basically line of sight, HT to HT direct communication, also called simplex operation. This is going to be your FRS channels, your GMRS, and your MERS. Now, to give you a quick caveat about using this for FRS and GMRS, FRS, you're not supposed to use Baofengs for FRS due to FCC regulations. That said, people are going to use them, so it is what it is. GMRS. In order to use GMRS frequencies as well as GMRS repeaters, you're supposed to get a license for that as well. It's an $80 license that you get through the FCC. Now MERS, which is multi-use radio system. No FCC regulations really on it in regards to Baofengs, and no licensing needed. So you'll be able to use it for that, which is what we use it for. What we use it for at Cola Warrior. All right. So speaking of Cola Warrior, I got to make sure that I represent the Cola Warrior lifestyle. If you are not a Cola Warrior and you have never participated in Cola Warrior, check out my other videos. It's a load of fun. It's very challenging shooting competition. I would definitely say that you need to get on board with that. Just give it a try. In light of that, I was saying that we use the radios at Cola Warrior. Some of us are actually Cola-Coms certified. So we are the ham operators of the Cola Warrior crew, Cola-Coms. So I'm going to go ahead and rock this for the rest of the video. All right, so back to the video. Other reasons why we would use Baofengs, or how you can use Baofengs. You can use them for medium to long range ham radio communication, which is used through repeaters. And repeaters usually give you about 40 miles worth of communication distance. However, you can get more than that. You can actually get cross country if the repeater that you're hitting has echo link, if it's enabled with echo link. And you can actually go across the world or even off world if you are using satellite repeaters. There are a couple of satellites that are out there, actually a lot of satellites that have the frequencies. You use the same bands that Baofengs use in order for you to send and receive messages. Specifically the ISS, which I have programmed here. You see USA ISS. Okay, other reasons why or how you can use Baofengs, what they're useful for. So you can monitor unencrypted local emergency services. For example, EMS, fire, even police if it's possible. You can listen to weather reports through the NOAA stations. And of course, broadcast radio, FM radio, your music. If you want to listen to the music on your Baofeng, you can do that as well. Personally, I use them for walkie-talkies. I use them as HTs at Cola Warrior, but I also listen to EMS security stations, like for local colleges we have here, hospitals. We have prisons that are within 5 miles from here, and I'm able to listen to all of their security teams.
10-4-8.
So this is Broad River Correctional Facility, which is about 5 miles, within 5 miles of my house. So I'm able to listen to, I've heard them talk about riots, fights, a guard got stabbed once, all types of stuff. How is this useful? For me, it's entertainment to a degree, but it's also useful to know, seeing as how I live within 5 miles of a prison. If there's ever a prison break, I'd like to be able to know, because we have had prison breaks before in the past, and we didn't get any information as the public until later at night after the news has chimed in.
10-4-9.
And the most warning that we even had that there was somebody dangerous on the loose in our neighborhood was the fact that there was a chopper flying around searching for the person. They don't sound any alarms. It's not like Shawshank Redemption where, a horn goes off, or an air raid horn goes off. It's nothing like that. It's basically they just handle the situation, but they don't tell us anything. Other reasons why I use or how I use Baofengs. I monitor and occasionally participate in conversations on ham repeaters. I also carry one whenever I'm hiking in case of an emergency. These Baofengs also I have them planned as they're going to serve to be my emergency communications in the event that cellular service is down or overloaded. We had a tornado here, and everyone was trying to call everyone, and it was actually jamming the cellular service. And that's another thing that ham repeaters are good for when it comes to weather-related situations. I found that up-to-date severe weather information can be heard way faster on ham repeaters than you waiting for it to be filtered through the local media. You can hear people reporting that a tornado has touched down here, or we're experiencing hail over here and it's heading this direction, so that it gives you the chance to prepare for whatever's coming your way a lot faster than waiting for it to filter through your local media like your news or even the radio stations. All right, so I've been asked which Baofeng should I get? If you're unsure, just get a plain old UV-5R. It looks just like this, or something along this lines. You're going to get a UV-5R. The reason for that is because, number one, it's the cheapest. All right, it's between $20 to $30, and it's the most supported when it comes to accessories. So if you're looking to upgrade the accessories later on down the line, the UV-5R is pretty much the universal standard when it comes to the Baofengs. If you do need to upgrade down the line, there are different models that have different features, but they all pretty much perform the exact same functions. But some of the features that are available are like 8 watts of transmit power instead of the standard 5 watts. That's what the 5 in the UV-5R stands for, is 5 watts of transmission power. Triple bands. There are some that operate on the CB, which is citizens band, in addition to your 2-meter and your 70-centimeter bands. There are some waterproof versions of Baofeng radios. In fact, the ones that I have, the first one that I bought was the GT3WP. And the 3WP is for waterproof. All right, so I talked about accessories. And so you're probably wondering, well, what upgrade should I invest in? Out of the box, you'll want to upgrade from the stock antenna, the rubber duck. You want to get rid of this thing. If you want a long one, I would suggest the Nagoya NA771. And if you don't want a long one, you want to get the Nagoya NA7 701. I think it's the 701. So the stock antenna, the rubber duck, is known for having spurious emissions and bad reception. Also, I suggest if you did not get one, invest in a genuine programming cable. Programming the radio is far easier using this and the free software called Chirp than it is trying to program things in on the radio's keypad. So the programming is much more efficient using the cable and Chirp on your laptop or whatever computer that you're using versus trying to use the radio's keypad. Also, some of the functions and features are only accessible through Chirp. Can't do it using the keypad. The UV-5R and the UV-82 style have different button layouts. So if you look at the UV-5R, you have the 0 button is off to the side here, versus on the UV-82 and the GT models, it's more of a it's kind of a cell phone layout where you have the 0 at the bottom. For example, the UV-82 style does not have an AB button. Another reason for having the different styles, or when you're deciding which one you're going to go with. If you prefer the cell phone style like I do, that's the type that I go with. One of the questions that I received in regards to how do we use this thing is, what is a band? What is a band and what is a meter? So bands and meters are basically two things that are referencing the same thing here. Baofengs are dual band, meaning that they can operate on both the 2-meter band and the 70 centimeter band. The 2-meter band includes all frequencies between 144 to 148 megahertz. The 70 centimeter band includes all frequencies between 430 and 480 megahertz. So don't be confused about the words meter and centimeter. They do not reference the distance between two objects in the sense that you naturally think of when you think of the words meter or centimeter. It's not about distance, okay? So get that out of your mind. It's referring to the wavelength of the radio wave. So as you see the oscillation of a radio wave, there's a distance between the peaks and the valleys of those radio waves, okay? And that distance, that's what the band is named after. So 2-meter bands means that it's 2 meters between those peaks. 70 centimeters means that it's 70 centimeters worth of space in between those wavelengths, or in between those peaks. And that's the wavelength. All right, so you just bought your Baofeng radio, you've received it in the mail, you open up the box, you put the battery in, you put the antenna on, and you turn it on, and what do you get?
Frequency mode.
Hey, that sounds great, but then when you look at what the screen says, you have no effing clue what to do with this radio. There's 155 and there's 438. Yours may have all kinds of 4s and all that on it. All right, so these things come programmed from the factory using radio frequencies that are used in the UK or Asia and Europe. I mean, they're from China, so it's a good chance that they're used in Asia. So if you try keying up means trying to transmit. If you try keying up on either of these, you're not going to reach anybody, not unless they have another Baofeng, or you bought 2 Baofengs and both of them are set to the same frequencies. They're not going to key up and do anything. All right, so let's go over the button layout, explain to you what all these buttons do and what you use them for. So first thing is your on-off switch. So
Frequency mode.
just like anything else, turn it clockwise, turns on, counterclockwise, turns it off. You have a orange VFO/MR button. This takes you from frequency mode, which is what we're on right now, to channel mode.
Channel mode.
Right? The difference between frequency mode and channel mode is that channel mode allows you to go to a specific channel versus typing in a frequency. So once you start programming, you're going to program, like for instance, you'll have your NOAA station at channel 1, and then you'll have a ham repeater on channel 2, and you'll put your local fire department on channel 3, you're able to just go to channel 1, channel 2, channel 3 to go to those frequencies versus you trying to remember all of the frequencies that everyone runs on, which is totally impossible unless you're some kind of savant. So you'll put everything into channel mode, or excuse me, you'll program them in as channels, and then you'll use channel mode. Now, when you're on the fly, you've left your normal area of operating your radio. You may want to be able to type in a frequency, and that actually helps. I do that whenever I'm traveling. If I'm going to some place that I don't normally go, for example, recently I went to my grandmother-in-law's house, which is about 80 miles away, and they have repeaters down there that I never had programmed in here, but I wanted to see if I could reach anybody on any of those repeaters. So I used my phone and the repeater book app on my phone in order to determine what those repeaters were close to that location, as well as the frequencies. I programmed them in using frequency mode, saved them to channel mode, so then I could, just access them easily that way. All right, your next button is the AB button. All right, so this is referring to A line or your B line. All right, so when I say dual channel, it allows you to monitor or use 2 different channels at a time. So you've got your line A and you've got line B. If you notice, there's a little triangle right there, which indicates which line you're on. That's line A, this is line B. Next button is band. So when you're in frequency mode, the top line that we're working with right now is on the 2-meter band. If we want to just quickly switch to the 70 centimeter band, which is in the 430 range, then you hit band. And you see how that automatically switches to the 400 range? That's the quick way to move between the 70 centimeter and 20 meter bands. Other buttons. You've got your menu button, which brings up all of the different options that you have, like changing the squelch level or changing the search step level, the power, the transmit power, battery saver. Other buttons that we have here, exit button. On the UV-8.2 style, which is I'm going to call them the cell phone style from now on, all right? So the cell phone style ones, that exit button actually is what moves you between your 2 lines. So let's see our triangle there, we click, and that moves us back and forth. So the exit button is what moves you between lines on the cell phone style ones. On the 5R style though, it pretty much just, if you're typing in something and you want to exit out of that without making any confirm changes, you just hit exit. You have up and down arrow keys. These up and down arrow keys are good for if you want to move between frequencies, if you want to step up. All right, fun buttons, the actual buttons for transmitting. We have the PTT button, which is your push to talk, and that's what I'm going to call it from now on. Push to talk button, you basically, when you're ready to speak, you hold push to talk, you blah, 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 nice to meet you. When you're ready to listen, or when you're done transmitting, you let off. You let off of that push to talk. So you push to talk, you release to listen. There's no way for you to receive the transmission until you let go. So make sure that you don't just hold that button down. All right, other quick buttons. We have the pound button, the pound key. So when we turn this on, if you hold the pound key, it will lock.
Unlock.
We have it locked now, but if you hold the button, trying to get both the button as well as the screen. You hold the button.
Lock.
You see that little key that came up there? It locked the screen. So now you can't miskey anything. Lock does not lock the push to talk. Lock still allows you to do everything else, but you can still push to talk. You can still key up. All right, so you'll still be able to do that without having to worry about anyone changing to the wrong channel or the wrong frequency, and all of a sudden losing your settings, and you're unable to communicate with the people that you were trying to communicate with before. The star key allows you to scan. So we're going to do a quick scan and see if we can find anyone transmitting on any of these stations. So we're in frequency mode. when you're scanning in frequency mode, it just moves up through the frequencies. It says scanning beacon, and it's going to keep going and keep going and keep going until it actually hits a transmission. When it hits a transmission, it will stop. So that was in frequency mode. But when you're in channel mode, so both are on channel 14, when you do a scan, it's going to scan through all of the different channels. See how it's going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blah, 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 blah. So it's going through all of those, and then when it runs out of channels, it starts over again. And then you hit exit to stop. All right. So in frequency mode, it scans through the entire frequency, the entire band until it hits something or until you stop it. And then when you have it on channel mode, it will just cycle through all of the different channels that you have programmed in. Once it does the same thing. If it hits a station, it'll stop while it's lit and let you listen. You can either continue or stop scanning. Other buttons. We have the monitor button, which is below push to talk. So the monitor button does two different things. For one, if you just click it, it gives you a flashlight. Click it again, and it gives you a strobe light, which are useful during search and rescue operations, especially if you're trying to be rescued. If that strobe light is going off, it makes it a lot easier for other people to see you, and using that flashlight makes it a lot easier for you to see your way. Now it's called the monitor button because it actually allows you to, when you hold it down, it opens up the squelch, which allows you to monitor a frequency for any signal that's coming in. This is very useful in a situation where you're getting a weak signal, who's transmitting isn't they're not transmitting powerful enough, or your reception is not good enough for it to open up the squelch for you to hear it. But if you hold down the monitor button, it opens up the squelch, which gives you all that static. So now it's completely open, so any transmission that is put out there, you're able to hear it. But it's a quick way for you to open up the squelch, is for you to hold that monitor button. The last quick button that you have here is the call button. So the call button, depending on, and you've seen this same button on other little walkie-talkies that you get out of Walmart, any kind of bubble pack walkie-talkies, where if you click call, if you hold call, it gives you an alarm. So that gives an alert for other people to basically stop talking, or if a good use for this is if the radio is in someone's pocket and they can't hear you or trying to get a hold of them, you hold that call button, and I promise you, when they get that call signal through there, they'll hear that alarm sound, and then they'll, oh, I had the thing in my pocket and you've been trying to get a hold of me that whole time. You hold call, sends out that alert. If you just hit call or just press it one time, it brings up FM radio. So I'm going to go to 96.7 Steve FM here, which is the great. Holy crap, are you serious? We got Journey. You can't beat that. So you can listen to your FM station. Now, you can listen to the radio and still monitor your handy-talkie channels or frequencies. When someone keys up in order to send you a transmission, it will turn off. It'll turn off the FM station, and you get to listen to them. All right, some of the other features that you'll see when you are operating the radio. So when you first turn it on, it comes on and it turns purple. All right, so the purple color, and these colors are completely customizable. You can change between purple, orange, and blue depending on what you want it to do. If you want all purple, you can do that. If you want all orange or all blue, you can do that. It's up to you. So purple is your standby color, which is basically when the radio isn't receiving or transmitting, it's not doing anything, or you're just moving through the menu options. It gives you the purple. Okay, but if you are transmitting, you get orange, blue, right there. So we've done purple, orange, and blue. And matter of fact, I'm going to leave it this time so that you can see it go from blue back to purple when it goes to standby. So that's blue reception, and then it switches back to purple. And then orange to transmit, and then purple back to standby. So those are the cool colors that you get. You again totally customizable when we use the chirp software in order to program the radios. One other thing that you may have noticed was that green light. So that green light that green LED that lit up, you'll see that change different colors as well. So one of the colors that that you'll see it turn is green when you're receiving, red when you're transmitting, and then when you're programming the radio, it will flash between green and red. It'll just keep flashing until it's all done. The radio will turn off, turn back on. So that's how you know that the radio is also working, is because you've got that LED that's right there on the face of it as well. On the side of the button, excuse me, on the side of the radio is the SP/mic. That's your speaker mic plug-in. So this plug, when you open it up here, so you basically plug in your programming cable, and you can also use this for having a speaker mic. If you want to have the radio, say, in a backpack or in a pocket, or you got your speaker mic and you can, you know, click that to push to talk. Or if you switch it over to voice operated mode, you don't even have to push it. You can just speak right into it and listen. So for now, we'll go ahead and conclude this video with all of that. We've gone over all of the functions. When we come back, we will talk about chirp. We will go over the settings that are available in chirp, what all of those settings mean, what the functions of them are, and what the suggested values of those functions in those in chirp should be for your Baofeng, and why you will want to set them that way. So until then, thank you everybody for watching. Please subscribe so that you don't miss the next video, or if you just want to watch them in tandem, these should be put into a playlist called Baofeng. So Baofeng boys. So until then, Baofeng gang, thanks for watching.